putting a dip in your hip, a glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is Rift Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Sensitive/offensive content disclaimer. Please note that this podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Hello, good evening, everybody. How are you? Welcome to the Rift Nation Network and Mysteries Beyond the Scenes. Hello, Rue. Hello, Lee. Come on in, everybody. I hope y'all are having a great Wednesday, a great week, full moon week. It's a full moon tomorrow. So, what's going on this Wednesday, Lee and Rue? We'll wait for everybody to hook up and get in here. Hi, Miss Michelle. How are you, dear? I hope y'all are doing well this lovely Wednesday, almost Halloween. We're close to Halloween. We are close to Friday, and it's almost Halloween. Doesn't get any better than that. I love fall weather. It's cool here. Freeze warnings tonight. It's too cold. All of a sudden, it went from 80 to 30. So now it's like, uh-oh, fall is officially here. I hope you guys are having a great week. I have a good show tonight. This case that we're going to discuss tonight, I haven't seen too much coverage on this particular case. Tammy and Kathy, this is down by you all. This is in the San Antonio area. This is a fairly big case, and I've watched it now since October the 6th when Suzanne went missing, and Suzanne Simpson from a suburb of San Antonio, and I think, this is just me when I was looking at the chart, I think they're going to find her tomorrow. I am very, very impressed with this sheriff's office and what's going on with San Antonio and their sheriff. So Tammy, you may know some of these folks that are working this case. They apparently have not stopped since this case began, the investigative work. And all of us in true crime know that when a case hits, it's when law enforcement acts quickly, gets on it, that's when these cases are solved. And we see it time and time and time again. So thank you, Keith. Keith got us shared out. Hi, Miss Linda. I hope you're enjoying your rest. And Miss Michelle is in the house. I hope you guys are having a great night. Let's get started because we've got a lot going on. I just wanted to give you a little heads up too on the full moon. Tomorrow, this full moons are when we release energy. We release energy. So this full moon tomorrow night is a power-packed full moon. I'm going to study it a little bit more. It's in Aries. We have in it what's called a grand cross, which there are 4 very sharp aspects and then 2 very, very hard aspects with that little box. It's a little box with a cross in it. And it's with Pluto. So we'll see. We'll see about this full moon. It's a big one. It's a big one. Tammy says, I think it's a SAPD case, San Antonio Police. When we get more into the information, I think it's a sheriff. I believe it's sheriffs as well, Tammy. I'm sure you'll be very familiar with them. But so far, I am very impressed with the pressers, with how fast they have moved, with the evidence they have collected. They have already made an arrest in the case. So I'm very, very impressed with this, Tammy. I'll find out. I've got the names as we get further into the slideshow. Good evening, Mr. Odell. How are you, hon? Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like and share. We are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So thanks so much, everybody, to hit the thumbs, share, like, and get others involved and subscribed. Absolutely. Because of the fact when we have somebody that's missing, it takes 2 seconds to share a missing flyer. It takes 2 seconds to, I think sometimes we'll all get on social media and not realize the millions and millions of people that we really touch just through being on Facebook or TikTok or X or Twitter or wherever you are on social media, So just sharing a post or somebody might see it. And the police are asking him if they did see his truck. So I've got pictures of that as well. Happy birthday to Miss Sarah, Mr. Odell's better half. Libra Miss Sarah, sweet Sarah. So shout out, great happy birthday to her. Hope she has a great day. All right, you guys, let's get started into this case. I like I said, I'm not sure if there's a whole lot of, I haven't seen a lot of people covering it. So we'll see. Let's get this bigger for you guys to see. There we go. Okay, as you guys know, every Wednesday night, we bring out to add to our list of if anybody has a missing person or a cold case. We are compiling a list. I think it's up to about 15 now of all of the search and rescue groups that are available for folks. So if you know somebody that has a missing person or a cold case, I have listed the past 5 weeks, all of the, actually, most of these, they're all free for families. And if a loved one is missing. So tonight I wanted to showcase some search and rescue groups too that are available for people. Midwest EquiSearch. EquiSearch is a very famous search and rescue group. They're based out of Texas. However, they do have EquiSearch in the Midwest region. So they have a separate website that you can contact them. They're in the Cincinnati area, but they do travel everywhere. Yes. So we've got Midwest EquiSearch. And then, of course, we've got our EquiSearch in Texas. They have drones. They have horses. Complete professionals. You go to their website, you fill out the form, and they will contact you. Just a very, very wonderful group. And just another quick reminder, they work on all of these groups do not get any federal aid. They work completely on donations. So they're wonderful people. Then we also have, for if you're looking for a search and rescue group, National Association for Search and Rescue. It's listed by state, the groups that are on there. So if you need a search and rescue group for a loved one, NASAR, National Association for Search and Rescue, is available to families. You know, there are a lot of groups and services out there for families of the missing. Lots and lots of them. You know, you just Google it. Google in search and rescue, missing loved one in your area, cold case, missing loved one area. And it will pop up. So welcome in, you guys. Yes, a huge, huge happy birthday for Miss Cindy, my fellow Libra stellium sister. Hello, Miss Denise. How are you? Happy Wednesday. That's right, Lee. Birthday blessings for everybody. All right, you guys, let's get started on this case. Now, I did do the mapping on this, and I'll give you a little heads up. They are searching in a landfill. Now, they did not want any of the press or anyone to give out the area or the name of the landfill, so it was hard for me to see if it was on the map. So I searched around for a landfill, and I really couldn't find one where they said there was one. So when they find her, which, you know, I did the chart, the event chart, the event astrology chart, they're going to find her. And, you know, with a full moons illuminate situations. A full moon will eliminate a situation. So I personally think they're going to find her tomorrow. Tomorrow's the full moon. I looked at the full moon and I went, yeah, I think she's going to be found tomorrow. So here is her missing poster. Look at this beautiful woman. Suzanne Clark Simpson. Now this is how quick this case, they've jumped on it. October the 6th at 9 p.m. October the 6th at 9 p.m. missing. And that was on a Sunday evening. So we're going to do her timeline. This is her home in we all know where San Antonio, Texas is. It's in the south of Texas. This is her lovely, beautiful home that she shared with her 2 children and her husband in the suburbs. Now, let's get on the timeline of Suzanne. On October the 6th, on a Sunday, the couple, she and her husband, attended a party at the Argyle. It's a private dinner club on Patterson Avenue before returning home, which they share with their 2 children, which we saw that slide. There's her beautiful home. Look at that. A neighbor, now listen to this. This is what happened. Now, this is what happens, I think, when people think quickly and move on things. This is one of the last known photographs of her caught on camera. And that was on Sunday. You know, there she is, her last event. This is her husband, who has subsequently been arrested. Now, I'm going to tell you what he was arrested for in a minute. Okay, let's go back to her picture. I'll give you the timeline. So we know they went out on Sunday evening. There she is. They returned home. So they went home. And like it said, she is the mother of 4, but there are only 2 children still at the home. Now, a neighbor has come forward, a neighbor, and told police that between 10 and 11 p.m. on Sunday, he heard arguing outside of his bedroom window that became louder and louder and seemed closer to his window. When the neighbor looked out of his window, he saw the Simpsons in a physical altercation. He said Mrs. Simpson was trying to get away from her husband, Brad, as he tried to pull her down. It appeared he was clearly attempting to keep Mrs. Simpson from running away. The neighbors told authorities he last saw the couple heading westbound. The neighbor went outside to investigate, and a short time later, he heard 2 to 3 screams from a brushy area east of his home. That's what the affidavit states from the neighbor. Now, the neighbor states in the affidavit that about an hour later, the neighbor saw Brad start his black GMC truck, and I'm going to show you a picture of it. There's the black GMC truck, and he left the home. The neighbor told authorities he saw Brad Simpson return 1 to 2 hours later. Okay, there's the truck. And the police are asking if anybody in the San Antonio area, anybody within this area, if you see this truck with that plate, looks like MWD 7050. It is a black GMC Sierra. It's a big truck. And it's on your Ring camera or a dash cam to contact the police. Okay? So they're asking for that. The police are. Now, that was on the 6th. So remember now on the 7th, which is Monday at 3 p.m., their child's school called Mr. Simpson and advised him that their child had not been picked up from school. Mama usually picked up the child. Then on Tuesday, October the 8th, police interviewed staff at the school where one of the children attends. The child told staff that her parents were fighting and her mom was assaulted, and her dad took her mom's phone away. The child also stated that mom had a bruise on her elbow. On October the 9th, the next day, police obtained an arrest warrant for Brad Simpson. The charges were family assault, violence, and unlawful restraint. Okay, he was taken into custody about 1:30 a.m. Wednesday evening, October the 9th, on 542 East Mile Marker on Interstate 10. Now, 1:30 in the morning. And he was booked in with $1 million bond. And his bond was set at $1 million a charge. $1 million a charge. And he was charged with assault, family violence, and unlawful restraint. So we got a $2 million bond. The police took down the crime scene tape from the home and opened up everything again. So the police went through the home, Dad's already arrested. As you can tell, Dad's in his wardrobe, prison wardrobe. Okay, here is a shot of where the home is located, a little map, where they originally searched. Now on Friday, remember this happened on Sunday. The child wasn't picked up on Monday. Tuesday, the police were at the school. Dad was arrested on Wednesday. On Friday, they went to Route 10 and did that search area up by Route 10. Apparently, nothing was found at that particular search area. Okay. That's the search area from the home. Now, her family put out, and we've had, this has been breaking all day with more news and more news. So the family of Suzanne just sent out a beautiful note thanking the almost Park Police, the Department of Public Safety of the Texas Rangers, Chief Fidel Villegas, Ranger Jesse Perez, there you go, Tammy, and the DPS Victim Services for guiding us through this unimaginable ordeal. So the family put out this wonderful note of thanks to the authorities. And every day, the police have, not every day, but they have given pressers. They have been on top of this like no other. Now, as of today, well, yesterday, the police released a statement stating that they feel confident there's a good chance of recovering Suzanne at the location of the landfill. Evidence, statements, and solid police investigation has led us there. It would not be possible with the help of many other LE agencies. However, the Texas Rangers and DPS are at the forefront of this investigation. We ask that you pray for the family. So they are already confident that they feel that she is going to be found in that area, in the land search, in the landfill area. Okay, so let me get this back small again, or try to get it small again. I end up trying to do it small, and then it gets gigantic. And then my head looks like a watermelon. So here we are. We've got the landfill. We've got them going. And I would say, this is my thought process on this. That is a new truck. And that truck is kind of like my son's truck. That truck practically does everything by itself. So I'm thinking that they got in and got the info off of the truck on where exactly he was and where she was. Now, I'm going to show you my map where her phone did ping, which is away from where I believe they're searching, but I'm not quite sure, because they're keeping that kind of hush-hush where they're searching. They just don't want people to know. This is the area this is the landfill area where they are searching. So it is out in the middle of kind of nowhere, but landfills they're big, huge areas. Look at that setup of all the law enforcement. This is from a drone that was shooting yesterday of the search area. They have also brought in cadets from the police academy. I've never seen anything like this. They've brought in cadets from the police academy to help them search in this landfill, because you can imagine in 95-degree heat in a landfill with all of the contamination suits on, I mean, that would be crazy. That would be the heat and everything. So let's take a look. Okay, here we go. If anybody has any additional information, here are the numbers for the police department: Detective Hector Ruiz, Detective Melissa Campbell, and Almost Park Dispatch, and their numbers for any information. Or if you've got this truck on camera, ring camera, that, you know, these are highly trafficked areas where he was. I'm sure the GPS on his car has told them everything. And of course, the pings on the phone. Now, let's take a look at the chart. As you all know, this is the chart, the event chart that gives us a little bit of information on the event that occurred on Sunday evening. The neighbor thought around 11, 10 or 11, so I used 11. It's pretty cut and dry of an event chart. I used pink arrows for Suzanne, which would be the Gemini rising. Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, and the moon. In an event chart, we always use the moon as the co-ruler. Always use the moon as the co-ruler, as well as the ruler of the event chart, which is the ruler of the ascendant, which is Mercury. Mercury is circled in green. Look at that. That's Suzanne is Mercury. There's a man standing is right up with Suzanne. Now, when we get a planet that sits right on pretty much like where the ascendant is, it's pretty close. Or if it's in the first house with the ascendant, that pretty well tells us that that happened right in front of the victim. So Jupiter is anything that's exaggerated, made bigger. It can be bigger than life. Jupiter also represents places. But because it's on the ascendant, that happened right in front of Suzanne. If you notice, and if you remember, they went back into the wooded area. Uranus is right up from Jupiter in like around the 12th house. That would be shock. That could be surprise. In the woods, Taurus represents the woods. So something happened in the woods. And again, that's where the neighbor heard the screams. So that the chart's really, I think it's pretty good. I felt good about it. As you can see, what is circled in yellow up in the old 8th house, you guys have seen enough event charts. 8th house represents the house of transformation or death. When we see Pluto in that house, it's just not a good sign. So circled in green up at the top of the chart, that would be law enforcement and what the public sees. Whenever you have an event chart and you go look up to the top of the chart where it says like MC at the top and in that area, that tells you what the public is seeing, what law enforcement is doing, what is out in the open. Her remains are out in the open. Okay, Saturn represents remains. When they're up that high up in the chart, I would be safe to say 99.9% of the time they are found. That's why I said they're at this landfill for a reason. They know that she's there, but digging through massive amounts of garbage in 95-degree heat is just brutal. And I'm sure the dogs are there too, but they got to be careful. So as you can see, Mars down at the bottom of the chart goes right up to Saturn, which can be, physical injury. This chart pretty well reads it out for us. The perp in the other purple arrow is represented by Sagittarius, which the ruler is Jupiter. As you can see over by where Suzanne is, Jupiter is the perp, which is right in front of her. So whatever occurred to Suzanne, it happened right in front of her. You can see with the purple arrows, that's the perp. And you can see the planet that represents him. It's the perp. And, just a lot of... That Mercury is her. That could also mean car. So apparently he's taken her in his car And the neighbor said that he came back approximately an hour or 2 hours, which means he took her somewhere and, disposed of her, unfortunately. So that tells us pretty much. I mean, I think that chart. Rue, do you have anything else to add that you would like to add to the chart that you see? Because I ask Rue all the time, because Rue and I, whenever there's a case, we usually do them together. So I love to hear Rue's take on it as well, to see if I missed anything. Neptune up at the top, as you can see, can represent alcohol, drugs. It can represent mental illness, but it can also represent film and video and cameras. And I think they've got him on camera because it's up at the top of the chart. I think they've gotten to some kind of a film and realized that. Possibly the information on his car as well. All of this information right now is sealed. So we don't know what are on any of we don't know what's on any of the information, which we shouldn't. I mean, there's still a huge active investigation going on, and they're moving quick. It happened the 6th. It's only now the 16th, 10 days ago. Very impressive work, Rue. Let's take a look at the map. So as the blue pin in the middle is where they lived. And the blue pin up at the top of the chart is where her phone pinged. Now, if you notice, that's north. So they're searching southeast, in a southeasterly manner, around, I think, a little city around Atkins. So did he take some things and ditch them up by that little blue pin? We don't know. We'll have to find out. He took her phone and maybe threw her phone out and then went back. We don't know. So this is the area. There are some areas around where I believe they're searching around the Route 10 area. And I did a close-up of that. As you can see, I put an arrow there. See right where that's around that little Atkins place and around that Route 10. I think it's 10. Yeah, let me make it bigger. Yeah, around Route 10 is where the arrow is, and that area is where I believe they're also looking. But as soon as something happens, we'll get a definite spot, and I'll look at the map and see. There are lines over into that area where I believe, and there's another line at the bottom, which is a southeasterly area as well. So I don't know, Tammy, if you know where they're searching or if any of these lines are pointed over in that area. I'm not sure. None of the print media would give up any of the information. And I watched quite a few news videos that said they gave the county, but they did not want to give the address or the area of where they're searching. So let's see if there's any more. And that's another map. That's kind of where I brought it in a little bit bigger. So that is her story. I don't know if you guys want to add a little bit more to her story. It's a very tragic story. It just, doesn't it seem like to you that all of our cases lately have all been DV? All been DV cases. Very much so. So it's kind of like, man, what's going on with the DVs? Crazy. Okay, here we go. Let's see. We have only one dump on the southeast side. Yeah, they said southeast, and I think it's around that one line is around Route 10. And I think that's where they are, where the area they're searching. Um, yeah, here's what Howie is. Anybody else have, please put your info in the chat. Howie says motive, intent, and time. Absolutely, Howie. And I guess the only question I have is why didn't the I don't know why didn't the neighbor call 911? Is this something that maybe they argued a lot? Possibly. I don't know. I'm sure that'll come out, but possibly it was something that they didn't want to get. I don't know. The neighbor sure saw a lot of info that really helped the police, but I don't know. Would you have called 911 if you hear screams out coming from the woods? Would you call 911 or would you go investigate? What would you do? Tammy says, great chief. He's right on top of this case. Absolutely. I'm very impressed with the way that they have handled this. Impressive work. I'm very impressed with the press releases, which if you all have noticed in the Sebastian Rogers case, we don't get any from Tennessee. We don't get any press releases. We don't get anything from them. On some of the more famous cases, the Delphi case, which that trial, they just picked the jurors, that's underway. Opening arguments are Friday. They didn't give us information as well. It's almost like state to state is very different on how they give out information. It's been interesting. I think this is, now Tammy says it's all over the news where they are searching. I couldn't get an address though. I knew they were in Southeast, and Tammy says they use the cadets all the time. I would never put Bach in a dump. Lots of chemicals. Yeah, they're really, really, it's really a big landfill. Looks very clean on a lot of the landfills I've seen. Tammy, wonder if that's the Melissa Campbell I worked with at County. Honey, I don't know. Probably, I'll bet it is. I'll bet it is. Rue seems pretty clear, Joni. Thank God for the neighbor. Absolutely. Thank God for the neighbor. Agree, Rue. I'm just kind of curious as to why Denise is the same thing. Denise, I was wondering why they didn't call 911. I know. I think a lot of people don't want to call 911 and get involved. I think if I wouldn't hesitate. If I heard screams, I've done it before. I've called 911 a couple times on people. If I heard fighting, and especially if I hear a female screaming, oh yeah, they're getting a call. Oh yeah, I'm calling. I don't hesitate. I think some people just agree. Linda, I agree with Linda here. She said, too many times neighbors are afraid to get involved. And that's a shame because that's when people are unalived. Now, I'm not saying that I'm sure that the unalive had already occurred, but Ruth says she would have called. Linda, I would have called. Tammy, I wouldn't call. I'd be out there with my clock. Yeah, that too. Yeah, I would have said, hey, what's going on? Are you guys okay? You know what I mean? I would have said, hey, are you guys all right? What's going on? I would have at least yelled it, especially if it were my neighbors. Many of these would stillness still be alive if people would something to interrupt, even make noise? Yes. Gracie, same thing. Neighbor heard what neighbor. So see, and a neighbor heard as well. Now, Linda, has that neighbor come forward and will testify in court? Do you know that for Gracie's trial? Because I sure hope so. I don't care. I've gotten involved in men and women fighting, Denise. So have I. So have I. So have I. I wish someone would have done that for me. I get involved. I will call. That's true and very sad. It's very sad. Oh, I love you, Tammy. We all love Tam. Tammy's the best ever. I would, you guys, I would call too. I think if I didn't call, I'd yell out the window, "Hey, what's going on? Is everybody okay?" And that way you're not being like a nosy neighbor. You're going, "Hey, you guys, are you all right?" But maybe they don't know one another that well. It's easy to judge from, but the neighbor apparently was looking out their window and finding out what was that neighbor was on top of it. The neighbor knew everything, what time they were leaving, what time he came back, everything. So let's take a look at the truck one more time and get the picture out there in case anybody's watching this and they want to take a look at the Ring camera from the area. And if it's on the news in that area, I'm glad, Tammy. It's just not made the social media rounds here. Are they asking, Tammy, for if anybody has any of the truck or plates or info to please let them know? I sure hope so, Tammy. So there, once again, is the GMC truck. Again, that's kind of like, I don't know what kind of a truck Matt has, what the style is or model, but it looks like that. It's big like that. And that thing, I'll tell you what, that truck, when you're on your cell phone and you get a text message, the text shows up on your windshield or like down towards the bottom. The text message will write out on your window so that you can see it without taking your eyes off the road. Those trucks are something else. They're loaded with everything. You would be amazed. So I know it's got that system on there that would tell them exactly where he was. No question about that. I think after this full moon, you guys, and as dynamic as the full moon is tomorrow, she's going to be caught. She's going to be found. They've been asking the public for help. Great chief. Absolutely. Absolutely. Can Kathy go to that chief, Tammy? Is that not in the area where Kathy could get some help with her daughter's case? Hi, Miss Donna. Welcome. Come on in, hon. Come on in. I'm curious, Tammy, because this chief, I'm very, very impressed. So there is his truck. And he's on a $2 million bond. He is on the there he is for the $2 million bond. And that is for 2 counts of the domestic violence. So he's being held on $2 million bond for that. So I think they're holding him on that bond. They're holding him on that bond until they find her. So once again, there's the truck. It's where they have searched. Just wonderful, wonderful police work. Wonderful. It's great to see wonderful police work. It's really wonderful to see. Again, the event chart pretty well maps out and kind of gives us some clues, bits of the puzzle. We don't have a good time. But Tammy, is that in any part of the vicinity of that landfill? Do you know, just by kind of gazing at the map? I'll give you a shot. There's more of a close-up of the area with the yellow line. Is that landfill anywhere around that area? If you can just tell by eyeballing it, that would be pretty cool. That would be awesome if you could just kind of eyeball it. Hi, Miss Lois. How are you? Hope you're doing well, hon. So that is that case for the night. So it's not in Kathy's area. Next week, I was actually working on the case. I don't know if y'all have heard about the sheriff in okay. So it's right off. So see, we do have a lot. So we do have, yes, right off Route 10. So see, that yellow line is right off of Route 10. I'll bet you that's where that landfill is, in that area. I'm going to say is it about 22 miles or so? About 20 miles from where their house is in kind of like San Antonio. That's what I'm thinking. So it's right on that line. It's right there. So thanks, Tammy. We'll know next week. She's going to be found. I already know it. I already know it with this full moon. It's so powerful. It's really, really a big one. This is almost like an eclipse. I'm going to call it an eclipse. I'm just going to say it's an eclipse because it fits a lot of the rules for the eclipse. I'm going to say it's an eclipse in Aries. It's a lunar eclipse. I'm making it up. So next week, I wanted to, the case that I am going to work on next week, you guys, is the case I'm not sure if y'all have heard of the case in Kentucky where the sheriff went into the judge's chamber and unalived him there. They did do a preliminary hearing down in that case. That's down in Eastern Kentucky. And we're going to take a look at that chart. And I've got some inside, let's gossip, actually, some inside tea on that case. You know, it was the sheriff of the area went in, and it's on camera, and unalived the judge. Unalived the judge. We're going to take a look at that case next week. I was actually working on it when this one broke, and I thought, oh, she just went missing October the 6th. But you guys, they're going to find her. She's going to be found. With that up at the midheaven, again, tomorrow. We're at an eclipse. I'm going to call it the eclipse moon. It's an eclipse moon. It is a very, very strong, potent full moon tomorrow. Be cautious when you drive. We've got some transits that people, it's not you guys driving, it's the other people driving fast, driving like maniacs. So be cautious when you drive tomorrow. Just don't ride on somebody's rear end. You know what I mean? So be very cautious of that tomorrow. We'll get through a lot of these from now until the end of the month. We've got a couple of pretty gnarly transits coming up we just navigate them. Luckily, all of the transits with the full moon, the sun and the moon are involved, and they move so quickly. We're in and out of this Grand Cross pretty quickly. Pretty quickly. Oh, there is way more to this than what meets the eye. I think he didn't go anywhere. He basically he was there when they got there. He basically said, I did it, here I am. And this is from what I understand from the preliminary hearing, and this is why I did it. There are allegations of kidnapping. Some really wild stories are coming out of there of kidnapping the daughter, his daughter. But we'll look at all the court stuff next week. We'll look at the preliminary court information, because we should be able to get some of those transcripts back that I can post up on the screen, on the slideshow on that. Find out what's going to happen. What's going to happen with him? He apparently he worked in the workers' comp system of Kentucky. I don't remember when he was an attorney and not a judge, but I'll have to verify that. I don't think so, but I'm going to find out before he became a judge down in Eastern Kentucky. Small little town in Eastern Kentucky. It's right basically across the border from a lot of where all of that, devastation is from the floods. It's down in the mountains of Eastern Kentucky. So, we were plotting how to handle if we got hit. Hit with what, Lois? Oh, driving. Are you talking about driving? Keith says drive defensively. Absolutely. And then let me see what. Oh, I got another slide. Then oh, okay. Yeah. Crazy kid texting and driving. Absolutely. They give people tickets here. You can't really get away with it here. You get in a lot of trouble here. You get a big, like a $200 ticket. You get a big ticket. You have to go to court too. I think. I don't know, but I don't know. It's crazy. I can't text and drive. I would wreck. Crap, I can't even text while I'm just sitting, let alone driving. I have enough just trying to figure out a text without having to drive. So let me see what else we got. I've got one other slide in here about astrology class, and I'll try to pull it up here, and I can't find it. I can't find the slides to, let's see where the clip is. That's all I have, but that's what the case that I will do for next week. It's going to be an interesting case next week. Let's see. I got another. Let me see. I don't know how to get this. Oh, I have to go like that. Okay, let me try that. I don't know where else I could. Oh, here it is. Okay, and then one other announcement for you guys. If anybody, just about everybody that watches the show is also in the private group, the private astrology, the series group, Facebook group. So we've got another class, November the 9th, in the beginning astrology. This is a class that's going to be designed for people who are brand new, pretty new to astrology. It's going to cover the signs, the planets, the houses. We're going to go through natal chart exploration, but we're not going to interpret it. It's 2 for 1 if you bring a friend. And it's just a $40 fee, 20 on registration, and 20 do like a flex pay. Kind of split it up to help everybody out because things are so expensive. I know, I get it. So reach out to me, Raven's Nest Spirit @gmail, or just hit me up on Messenger, Joni Templeton Skinner, and I'll answer any of your questions. Do you guys got anything else you want to add in the chat before we go? Oh, thank you. Have a great week. I will. You too, Linda. Have a great time off. Have a good time relaxing. Does anybody have any questions? You want to add anything else into the chat? Say anything, what you're going to be doing this weekend or this week? We have in Kentucky, we have that Scare Fest is going on this weekend. It's a big, huge convention. And we also have what's called Blink in Cincinnati, Ohio. If you guys are just hanging out on Saturday and don't have anything to do, I don't know of any other city that does what Cincinnati does on, it's going to happen this weekend. It's called Blink. And what they do is they absolutely have every building, it lights up, and it's all like animated. I don't know if it's AI, but the buildings have animations. It is the coolest stuff you will ever want to see in your life. And they will be live streaming it, but it's Blink, Blink, Blink Cincinnati. Check it out. It's really neat. We got that going on this weekend. So, oh, absolutely, Miss Tammy. I'll talk to you about it. I want that class. Absolutely. And even if you know astrology, it's a lot of good things that you can always refresh and go on. It's a good class. Bring a friend, Tammy, and then it will only be $20 a piece. And it's 11 to 1 via Zoom on November the 9th. So it's a long class, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3-hour class, right? 2-hour class. No, 11 to 1, my bad. But I end up talking that long. I usually talk over. I talk a lot. So anybody have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys. You're more than welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have to close the pool. Blah. Yuck. We always have people do that. But you got to put away all your furniture and do all that fun stuff, don't you, at the pool? Well, enjoy your weekend, everybody. Next weekend, we're going to do the chart with, and this is going to be kind of a different thing to look at because we know what happened in this case. So we're not looking for anybody, but we know what happened. We have the timestamp. So let's see what the event chart tells us. Let's see how it compares to what was said in the court. There's a lot of gossip going on around that case. There's lots and lots of gossipy things. It's going to be an interesting trial. So remember, the Delphi trial is currently going on right now with Libby and Abby. That is going on. The Free Thug trial, Jeffrey Williams down in Fulton County, that RICO trial is on day, 150 right now? Crazy. So those trials are going on too. So I will see you guys next week. And if you want any questions on the class, just give me a holler. Just hit me up. Just DM me. So have a great week, everybody. Be safe. Drive slow this week, because other people are going to be speeding. So be careful. Be safe on this full moon. I'll see you next week. Thanks, you guys.